How do you focus on taking care of other people when you're afraid, when you're worried about yourself? Let's be honest here. We want to focus on other people, but when you're anxious, when you're nervous, you might be nervous about your job. Maybe you lost your job. You're worried about money. You're worried about your health. You're worried about your family. And so our minds go to, how can I take care of myself in this instance? Well, I want to share with you some data that might be helpful. At least it was helpful to me. I've studied negotiation for the last several years, and one of the things that we know, the research tells us about negotiation, is that people who enter into it with a giver mentality, who focus on the other person and how they can actually help the other person, those people do better in a negotiation than people who are takers, who just focus on themselves. My favorite source of information on this is Adam Grant. He's a professor at Wharton School of Business, and he wrote a great book called Give and Take, and he's got a piece in the New York Times where he talks about how this mentality of focusing on the other person actually applies to this moment in time. Because one of the things that I see happening when we're in a public health crisis, any ambiguity that we might have had about decision making is gone. The only decision we can make now is to put the health and the safety of others first. That's the only way we're going to get through this. And so what I think is interesting is the public health realm is proving what business has already seen to be true. If you focus on the other person and you give before you get, you actually get a better outcome. So the next moment you're frantic, try and remember the data backs up what your grandmother and your Sunday school teacher already told you to do. At least that's been helpful to me.